Well, police have now confirmed that the two individuals who are critically ill in Salisbury District Hospital, Dawn Sturgis and Charlie Rowley, did come into contact with a contaminated item of some sort. But the key questions now are what, when and where, and also how did they come into contact with this? It's certainly very worrying for the residents of Salisbury and of Amesbury, where these two individuals did fall ill on Saturday. Police now looking at the last movements of the pair before they became ill. The investigation now focusing on a park in Salisbury where these two people were said to have visited on Friday, the day before they did get sick, and also the hostel where Dawn Sturgis did have a room. That is now, we understand, being evacuated, and police in protective clothing are tracing, or certainly going through that area with a fine-tooth comb for evidence of this potentially lethal contaminated items. But of course this is all horribly real to the people of Salisbury. Just a few months ago, of course, after the Skripals, Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia were attacked with this same nerve agent. So people certainly finding it almost unbelievable that this is all happening all over again. Now, Sajid Javid, the Home Secretary or Interior Minister, was speaking in Parliament a little bit earlier and still very much pointing the finger of blame at Russia, at Moscow for that original poisoning, and saying that this was essentially a fallout of that, a continuation of that attack, and that innocent British people are still being affected, their lives are still at risk. This is what he had to say earlier in Parliament.
It is completely unacceptable for our people to be either deliberate or accidental targets, or for our streets, our parks, our towns to be dumping grounds for poison.
Sajid Javid there. Well, Maria Zakharova from the Russian Foreign Ministry spoke a little bit earlier, categorically denying that Russia was behind this poisoning or the earlier one.
For the sake of the security of residents on our continent, we're calling on the government of British Prime Minister Theresa May to end intrigues and games with chemical agents and to stop placing obstacles in the way of the joint investigation of what happened on the territory of Great Britain involving Russian citizens.
So the war of words between the UK and Russia intensifying once again, and of course this all unfolding as the World Cup continues in Moscow. This a unwelcome reminder that this crisis, this diplomatic crisis, has no end in sight. Paul Barber, CGTN, London.